Well, hello there, guys. Agrippa Maxenius here, coming at you with the Sons of the South Confederate Campaign. Now, as you guys know, yesterday we managed to take Cemetery Ridge, or I should say Oak Ridge, as well as Hare's Farm over here, and we're now doing our best to go ahead and assault the Union positions. Now, we know that at some point here we're going to have reinforcements coming on the way. Remember, we are facing a cunning Union enemy, and these guys certainly know how to fight. In fact, I don't even like Lane being all the way out here. I'm going to have him fall back. There's no way he could stay out there and survive. It's just not going to happen. We will start putting these guys into better positions on the hill, but until we get some reinforcements, we have very little we can do. The enemy absolutely outnumbers us, especially over here in this area, and all I can think of doing right now is trying to get some decent positions in these wooded areas, especially with Perrin here, and see if we can't hold the hill. It's quite possible that this cunning AI will actually manage to take the hill from us before our reinforcements even get here. I really hope that doesn't happen, but it certainly could. So here we go. We are standing here trying to change the history of the Battle of Gettysburg, of course, and we're going to let Lane sit back here and sort of recuperate a bit. In fact, I think we can even fall back with Broken Bro. Once again, he's taking that fallback order way before we even gave it. He knows what's coming, and it's not pretty. Let's stop Pettigrew right here. Just want to make sure we have that cover, and 55% cover is not bad at all. It's not the greatest, but it'll certainly work here. And at least we're moving Baxter back, but still no real advance on this front. Now we may consider going ahead and charging from the north down onto these enemy positions, especially since they don't particularly expect us, it seems. But then again, I'm also thinking it may be a good idea to just stay put and wait for our own reinforcements. Whatever we do here, it's going to take a lot of courage and may or may not lose us the battle entirely. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to move the Rice Artillery Battalion up first, so that I could start firing shell shot at these guys. That's going to be very helpful at dislodging them from their position. But while we wait for our reinforcements, we are in trouble. Once we get some reinforcements, we could push this eastern flank and go right into Gettysburg from the east. But for now, we're pretty much stuck. Let's go ahead and get Rice to do some shell shot on Baxter. Come on, boys. Load those cannons up. We'll leave Davis back here behind Oak Ridge because he obviously needs to recuperate. But these guys, Pettigrew and the rest of them, seem to be in pretty high spirits. Nonetheless, you can see what the enemy has here, and I don't think for a second we could hold that position. We'd be facing Paul, Bucktail Brigade, Baxter, Cutler, as well as an array of infantry, Biddle, and the Iron Brigade. It's just not really time for us to make that assault. But nonetheless, time is of the essence, and we may need to make that assault anyway. We may be forced to make that assault. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to move Lane up here to the ridge so that he can eventually move downwards on the enemy. We may even have to do a Confederate charge here eventually. And incredibly, Pettigrew is still aiming here at Baxter. I'm not sure if he's getting his shots off. There we go. Yes, he definitely is. Of course, Baxter has that great cover from the Lutheran Seminary, which is helping him a lot. But eventually here, we're going to want to have one of these guys charge. Davis is doing pretty well, too. And you know what? I think time has come to go ahead and start moving forward, guys. The march of the Confederacy begins now. We'll also move Lane over here this way. And once we get close enough, we will carry out one of the famous Confederate charges. Whether or not it'll work, we don't know, but we certainly want to start putting more pressure on the enemy, and it looks like with our shell shot, we certainly are. Lutheran Seminary is getting bombed to hell, but we don't care. We need to get in there. We need to secure a victory. Let's keep moving forward towards Baxter over here. And Rice is still firing off a shell shot. I do wish we had more cannons, but we just simply don't. That's just the way the battle is set up right now. It's our misfortune for losing so many cannons yesterday, but there we go. Our men are moving forward, and I actually like this. We're moving off the hill, but we are putting a lot of damage down on Baxter, as you can see, even with his superior cover, and that's what we need to do. We need to keep pressuring the enemy and eventually turn this into a charge, just slashing right down like a saber through the back of the enemy lines. Of course, this charge would be a lot more doable if we had some more reinforcements, but right now we just don't. Let's take scales here. Everybody seems pretty ready to go ahead and charge. I think I'm going to let Davis go ahead and let off a volley. And when he does, I will go ahead and commence the attack. There we go. No, not yet, not yet. That was Pettigrew. And Pettigrew's condition is actually really bad right now. So I'm thinking Pettigrew is not going to be joining in this charge, which is actually kind of a good thing, because that means he gets to stay back here and sort of watch the hill for us. Let's go ahead and let Scales have his fun, and we will go ahead, commence the charge. The sirens sound nothing like a Confederate rebel yell, but you'll have to pretend that they do. Here we go, guys. Scales is advancing. Davis over here, unfortunately, not willing to charge, but he continues to fire, and that's okay. And more Yankees arrive. This is the problem with reinforcements sometimes. They arrive when you don't want them to, and sometimes they don't arrive at all. And I'm actually glad that Lane kind of stopped here, because this charge is working on Baxter, but I'm not sure if it's going to work on Cutler. Nonetheless, we're going to continue. Why not? We'll keep moving forward with Lane. We'll move forward with Pettigrew. Let's also go ahead. We can start flanking Paul over here with Perrin. So let's move forward with Perrin and with Broken Bro. And let's have Rice fire over here on Paul. So Paul is definitely coming in to assist his men in fighting over here. And I'd love to get Pettigrew to do a charge here too. Let's do it, man. Let's go for it. A true Confederate battle charge here. This is an utter bloodbath. And we're also going to be flanking the enemy here with Perrin. And hopefully with Broken Bro too. If Perrin can just get into formation quickly enough. Come on, boys. More Yankees coming. That's not good. We've got Krasnowski on the field now. Our men are doing a lot of damage though. And Pettigrew is coming in to assault as well. Let's move the 3rd Corps over here. And let's see if Perrin is still fighting. We can actually move Perrin in here and maybe hit the charge from the west flank. That would be amazing. But right now, our guys are actually doing an incredible charge. Though I'm not sure how it's going to stand against Schmiffelnig and Krasnowski's men here. But Pettigrew continues to assault. Broken Bro is also moving forward. We're going to charge with Broken Bro. We're going to charge with Perrin. We are doing one massive assault, guys. It's that simple. And there we go, Barlow's division. I mean, this is amazing. The Union has gotten so many reinforcements this battle. It's almost unfair, but we're hopefully going to make use of that and still win. I certainly hope so. Let's move the 3rd Corps over here near our men. It looks like our men are sort of backing up on the charge now, and Schmiffelnig is actually countercharging. So Broken Bro didn't do so well. Perrin, however, is continuing here, sending the Iron Brigade himself back. And it looks like we also got rid of Reynolds, that annoying cavalry unit, or excuse me, artillery unit, which is definitely helpful. And now our men definitely hold the high ground. They hold this seminary area, the Lutheran Seminary, and we'll have Scales stay put here too. In fact, I'll have him open fire on the enemy if he's willing to. But a lot of times I've noticed that Lutheran Seminary poses some very strange problems in terms of gunfire. I'm not sure if it's because there are massive churches in the way, but sometimes it's hard to actually get a shot off over here. Part of me is thinking we should go ahead and fall back over here to the hill. We've done a pretty good job on that charge, but we don't want to push our luck. Then again, we're getting so close to the enemy victory point. Maybe we should go ahead and continue, or we should pull back and wait for reinforcements. I think I'm going to keep these guys here, try to hold the line, because if reinforcements don't show up, the battle is as good as lost anyway. But we could certainly make it hard for the enemy to continue to push forward towards Oak Ridge up here. Alright, there we go. Lane, it looks like he's pulling back. Is he opening fire on someone? Wow, I didn't realize Perrin was this far back. That's not good, behind the enemy lines, but he's actually giving the Iron Brigade hell. So let's see if he can go ahead and make the Iron Brigade run. That is something I did not expect, guys. Perrin may be saving the day, although he's running out of morale very quickly. I'm not even sure if he's going to get that second shot off, although making the Iron Brigade run like that gives us such an opportunity. Sadly, with all this skirmisher fire and artillery fire, I don't think Perrin is going to make it there. And there we go, Perrin is pulling back with Pettigrew. And we'll actually move Pettigrew over here by the ridge. Wow. A lot of nasty combat there. We definitely won that charge, but did we win really? Seemed more like a Pyrrhic victory. Despite winning the charge, we eventually do have to pull back. So let's go ahead. We'll get everybody back here. Get them away from this area and not get them shot. It's better for us to go ahead and reserve our forces than to continue attacking an area we know we can't take. Let's see, 1,500, 2,500. If we could take that 500, that would make us feel a little better, but really wouldn't make much of a difference. Come on, boys. All right, there we go, guys. General Rhodes is finally approaching from Oak Hill. Took him long enough. I mean, wow. One good thing is we're going to be able to take Oak Hill here pretty easily, as far as I can tell. And then we can commence another charge, although we want to get these guys into formation quickly. They're going to be facing a lot of enemy troops eventually here, especially Scales. He's probably getting ready to open fire already. And we'll have Rice go ahead and fire his shell shot over at Von Gilsa too. Make sure Davis is aiming. Yes, he is. And let's get the 3rd Corps back a little bit. All right, let's see where our reinforcements are. Come on, boys. There we go. They're approaching, guys. We're going to go ahead. We're moving them forward, of course. And you know exactly where we're going, straight to the battlefield. I want to be a little more careful with these cannon units, though, because as you guys could probably imagine, they're going to be very hot targets for the guys, the skirmishers hanging out here, and possibly some vedettes. I'm not sure about that yet. But let's see. So Perrin is still running. Man, nothing I can say about him. Unfortunately, he is certainly in a bind. Until we get those reinforcements, very little is going to be happening. But you can see here, Rice's shell shot is doing a lot of damage to the enemy too. And we may very well just be able to dislodge the enemy with some really effective shell shot. Come on, boys, get to the battle quicker. I would make these guys run, but the thing is they need to be well rested for the initial charge, or the total charge that we're going to do to take the Seminary area. Another problem is while we're waiting here, recharging our men, the enemy is doing exactly the same thing. And this certainly concerns me. Let's go ahead, turn lane this way. This way, lane, this way. Wow, did Lane just go apeshit? I think he did. No, he didn't. Beautiful. I thought he was retreating, but thankfully he's actually opening fire on Von Gilsa's unit. And his cover is pretty good, 54%. Pretty good cover, I have to say. So there we go. Krasnowski's moving up. I could really, really use those reinforcements now. And this is awesome, guys. General Early's division is also approaching. That's going to help us a lot. Let's move Iverson here. We're going to move him straight to the battle. Move O'Neill here straight to the battle. We secured Oak Hill. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And let's move Doles over here to the right flank. Not the greatest position, but I want to see if we can actually flank the enemy from the right. And look at that. Oh, man, that's beautiful. Let's go over here to Butcher's Hill, is it? I didn't actually get a quick look. We'll see pretty soon. Blotcher's Knoll. There we go. Grab Smith as well. The Louisiana Tigers are on their way too, and they're one of my favorite units. And let's also get these artillery units where they're needed. Well, I guess we could put them over here on Bleachers Knoll for now. Why not? We'll go ahead and switch that around once we get there. There we go. Ewell Sharpshooters as well. I've never understood the point of Sharpshooters. If one of you guys much better at this game than I am, let me know exactly what they were used for. I know what a sharpshooter is, but in this game, they don't seem to be very effective, I must say. Let's take a look over here. All right, we're just barely holding the hill, guys. As you can see, our men are definitely falling back, and they're not liking the situation. So we want to definitely get those guys there quickly. We've also got some skirmishers running around here giving us hell, and that's no fun. That's just mean. Let's grab, look at that, more guys coming. We're going to send these guys over here to make sure the enemy doesn't take this point, and besides, we can eventually wheel them around and bring them to the battlefield. Let's go ahead, keep moving forward, get all of these artillery forward, keep moving forward. There's just a tremendous amount of reinforcements we're getting. I would have loved to get these earlier in the battle, but I don't think the battle is lost yet. Here we go, a charge by Krasnowski. This could be devastating. But luckily, O'Neill, Iverson, all these guys are on the way, ready to fight. Come on, boys. All right, there's Krasnowski chasing away Broken Bro. Luckily, they don't know that Ramsar and Daniel are on the way. And the skirmishers are still giving Perrin hell. Let's take a look over here. Come on, boys. All right, let's get these guys up on Bleachers Knoll as well as sharpshooters, and see if they can't get some shots off on this enemy. And there we go. The men are approaching just in time. Of course, I would like to get one of them to go ahead and focus over here on Krasnowski. We'll have Iverson do that. And we'll also grab Doles over here and have him simply move down here. And there we go. Actually, Krasnowski ran away of his own accord, which is awesome. So I'm actually going to take Iverson and still put him over here. Try to make a real true battle line and not just clump these guys together, but actually have them set up in such a way that if they do a charge, it's going to be an overwhelming charge on all angles. And that's the goal. There we go. Rams are firing down on the skirmishers. I bet they wish they never were chasing Perrin there. They're not going to like that. As you can see, Ramser has 1,908 men, and you don't want to mess with them, to say the least, obviously. Let's bring Daniel over here. We'll get him on top. Ooh, sorry about that. Get him on top of McPherson's Ridge. I don't like Krasnowski and his position here, so we'll have Scales and Davis actually open fire on him, and we're also going to go ahead and bring Iverson in to deal with him too. Perrin, you stay back here, man. You've had enough of this battle. Actually, I'm going to move Perrin over here to Oak Hill. Let's see, Bleachers Knoll. It's pretty awesome. Alright, we've got more men on the way. We're going to bring 2nd Corps back here. And let's get these cannons much closer. Over here. We'll get the sharpshooters closer too. It looks like right now our attack is going pretty well, guys. The enemy is actually sort of on the defensive now, and that makes me feel very happy. Let's see if Broken Bro is willing to fire a few shots off at the enemy. Come on, you need your revenge, Broken Bro. Get it. Get it on Krasnowski. Let's see what's going on up here. We just want to make sure that we are using our men effectively. And obviously these skirmishers are just a pain in the ass because we need to use a whole brigade to kind of keep them away. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Here we go. More infantry on the way. We're going to move them right there towards where our artillery is massing. Come on, boys. There we go. We got Von Gilsa pulling back, guys. Now if we can make Krasnowski pull back, we've gotten him to pull back, we may go ahead and start moving forward. This may not be such a bad idea. We're going to go ahead and move Ramser up here on the ridge. We're already getting Daniel to get on the ridge too. And hopefully this will dissuade the skirmishers from messing with us. Broken Bro incredibly made Krasnowski run, and there we go, guys. This is our chance. We've got to start moving forward. This is our chance to take the field, as it were. We're going to keep these guys, Doles and Pettigrew, over here to deal with Von Gilsa. But as soon as Von Gilsa runs, that's our cue to go ahead and start moving forward. So there we go. Von Gilsa's running. We're going to take Doles, go here on the enemy right flank, Pettigrew on the enemy right flank as well. And we have to keep in mind that Schmiffelnig is over here with Cooper and Wilkeson, and that could definitely cause us some problems, but we're going to have to deal with them. So let's go ahead. I want to get Iverson into battle. The only reason I'm charging here, I don't want Krasnowski to get into that wooded area and get that cover, so I am going to charge just a little bit, or run, I should say. And there we go. Our men continue to advance. Come on, boys. All right, those skirmishers still giving us hell, man. That thing is so annoying. This is why I wish you could kill generals in this game, because some of the generals are such a pain in the ass. I just want them dead. It's that simple. Alright, here we go. Come on, Daniel. Get up that hill, man. Rams, are you too? Alright, let's take a look and see what's happening down at ground zero. Our men continue to move forward. It looks like our sharpshooters are getting some shots off, but I also want to move the artillery closer, so let's keep moving that artillery closer. That's been winning us the battle, and Darth definitely taught me that artillery is extremely important in this game, just incredibly important, so we really need to make the best use of it. Now, right now, one problem about this location is it's got excellent cover, and the enemy can really hold out here for quite a while. Let's make sure Doles is firing at Schmiffelnig. And let's see if we have forgotten any reinforcements. We certainly have. The Louisiana Tigers. We left them all the way back here. We're going to pull those guys up. We're going to pull this artillery up. And Carter as well. I suppose we should move him up here. See, now I'm happy that I moved Perrin here because we already see that the skirmishers are on their way. And in fact, I might just keep Carter here and do some shell shot on the skirmishers until we scare them off. And what are they doing? They're doing some sort of weird dance right now. Okay, there we go, guys. The attack has commenced. We're continuing down. I'm going to move down with Ramser and the rest of these guys, and we are going to get ready for a massive charge. As soon as our guys are ready, I want to make sure they are. Let's go ahead and... Dun 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 dun. Confederate charge, boys. Charge. Charge. There we go. A massive charge, guys, commencing right now. O'Neill, can't charge, unfortunately. Scales can't charge either. Lane, you can charge. Go ahead, man. There we go, guys. Our men are certainly charging, although, as you can see, a lot of confusion amongst the ranks. Some are charging, some units are charging, others are pulling back, I guess too afraid to get into the fray. Let's get Broken Bro over here and Daniel so that we have a nice position from the wooded area. Okay, so that charge did not go as well as we thought it would in the center. That's okay. We're going to give those guys time to rest and recuperate. And we will try again. That was our second Confederate charge. The first one was a bit better, but we are still crushing Schmiffelnig over here on the right side. And if we can hit the enemy cannons here, which it looks like we are doing, that is going to help us big time. So, wow, look at that, guys. Gordon is absolutely going through the enemy cannons here, trying to get rid of as many of them as possible. And this is going to cause a lot of confusion with the enemy. Let's make sure that O'Neill is firing. I want to move Iverson up too. I want to make sure everybody is shooting here. Let's come on, Daniel. Boom! Look how quickly they got into position to fire on Krasnowski. Krasnowski I've always found to be a particularly weak brigade. Actually, when I used to live in Greenpoint, true story, there was a... Greenpoint is a Polish neighborhood here in New York, and there was actually a statue to Krasnowski, which people would regularly leave flowers at. So apparently he was very, very big in the Polish community, which is pretty awesome. But in this game, doesn't seem to be the greatest general, or maybe his men are just not very good. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward. Come on, boys, come on. Let's get those cannons closer. You can already see one of the cannons is firing and doing great, so I don't see why the rest of these guys aren't taking tips here, as it were. But there we go. We're getting closer and closer, guys, and I think finally we can make the final push here. Finally make the final push, no pun intended, and take this area. So we're moving forward here. Everybody's moving forward. I want to make sure that the 3rd Corps and the 2nd Corps are also moving forward, because we want to make sure that the enemy know that the generals support them and are ready to lay down their lives. Let's also get the cannons over here, and we want to make sure we're firing shell shot. All right, there we go, guys. Very, very close to the enemy. And I want to make sure we have brigades that are ready to fight, getting close. As you can see, Iverson is quite timid. He's gotten shot quite a lot here, and the enemy condition and morale is bad. So he's pulling back, but that's okay. We're getting our strongest units up here. The condition for O'Neill's not great, but he can charge, and that's what matters. So we're going to go ahead and charge in here. Already, the Iron Brigade, the Black Hats themselves, have pulled back, guys. And at this point, our job is to go ahead and take this second position. Garnett's artillery battalion has arrived. Excellent. So we can also bring in some artillery. I'm actually going to bring one of the artillery battalions up on this hill, just because I'm worried about those skirmishers and what they could do. And we'll bring Lewis over here up on Harris Ridge to do the same. So that we have a sort of insurance policy. And there we go, guys. We're slowly winning at Seminary Ridge. We want to keep moving forward. The enemy is not giving up. This is a cunning enemy, and they're certainly not prepared to surrender right now. But having the shell shot here with these cannons, it's doing wonders for us. Let's get this guy up here too, and let's get the Tigers to join in this attack. There we go. We have secured Seminary Ridge, guys, and not without killing a ton of bluecoats for the South. Now I just want to hold our position. There's no way I want to go for this other victory point over here. I think we have more than enough, and especially since we're facing a cunning enemy, I want to be very, very safe here. Let's hold with Daniel. As you can see, the guys are tired. They may seem like they have a lot of men in those units, but those sort of flashing flags let you know that these guys have been through hell and back. Move Pettigrew up. Iverson, you're moving up too. Looks like it's time for our cannons to move up as well. I think at this point, it's time for them to get closer and really establish control. Okay, here we go, boys. There we go. As you can see, Gordon moved back. He was extremely important in that charge earlier when we broke through the enemy lines and started actually firing at their cannons. I mean, that was so helpful for us. I don't think that we could have gotten this far without him, because those cannons were just pounding our men. And as I told you before, artillery in this game is a major, major issue. If you have artillery constantly attacking you, you're not going to survive. On the other hand, if you have superior artillery, you have a very good chance of winning the battle. Let's see where Broken Bro is. 500 men. Excuse me, guys. Wow. And Davis is still pretty freaked out. Starting with 2,000 and getting down to 939 can't be fun, I must say. But let's go ahead and open up on Bucktail. Bucktail's doing even worse. They went 544 men left. We'll absolutely have Davis fire on these guys. And as you can see, the enemy is definitely making a push. We'll go ahead and see if we're close enough to do some canister shot. If we are, we will. If not, we'll stick to shell. And we're just going to have to stay put. At this point, I'm not going back to the hill. The hill is well held. I'm just keeping this line in formation. And what a beautiful line, too. Just take a look at that. So look at that. The enemy actually had late reinforcements, which was awesome. That definitely helped us in this battle so far. Then again, we had pretty late reinforcements too. But whether or not this will affect the enemy enough to make them lose the battle, only time will tell. The battle's not over yet. These battles often get delayed, and that may be what's going to happen here. Let's make sure Lewis is firing down at this guy. Come on, get him with some canister shot, Lewis. There we go. More skirmishers getting hit by canister shot. All right, guys. Yes, the Tigers are in battle. Louisiana Tigers are ferocious fighters. And I'm even thinking of going ahead and leading a charge here on the right flank with the Tigers. Let's do it. We might as well. We're going to charge with the Tigers. We'll keep the rest of these guys back. The Tigers are going to be our little sacrificial lambs. But really, they aren't so much sacrificial lambs. These guys are true warriors of the South. And they're charging right in, obviously confusing the hell out of the enemy. Schmiffelnig is pulled back. I don't know if Baxter can hold their charge. I certainly hope that he cannot. And it looks like Cutler is trying to make a push up here on our position. Let's start moving up forward a little bit more just to get closer to our defensive line. And there we go, battle delayed. We expected this to happen, and it may be a case of us simply having to defend this ridge while the enemy reinforcements attack us. We don't know. But the Louisiana Tigers continue to charge here, killing a ton of the enemy, which is awesome. And I'm actually going to go ahead and send them this way and charge the enemy cavalry units, or excuse me, the enemy artillery units. Let's go ahead and get the Tigers here, and nope, they seem pretty dead set on killing poor Baxter. So we're actually going to fall back and try to get back to our lines without getting too much damage, of course. There we go. Sadly, Daniel finally had enough of the battle. His men are taken off. They are going to regroup, but that was a tough loss for them for sure. And let's see. That's the enemy reinforcing party right there. They're on their way, and they're not happy. All right, there we go. Wow, Buford. Is Buford going to try to take Oak Hill here? All right, let's see if Ramseur, by the way, being my favorite Confederate general, can go ahead and get rid of that cannon. And in fact, he did. Awesome. So we'll go ahead, we'll hold with him here. And this is great. The Louisiana Tigers, despite, being under fire from a ton of guys and just completing a charge, you can see just the bravery in these guys. They didn't retreat a single time. They actually walked back to their lines while being fired upon, and they still have pretty good morale. So I love the Tigers. They're great. Turn this way a little bit. Alright, is it possible that the enemy is going this way to try to cause some issues? Let's bring Davis over there just to make sure that he isn't. We'll put Iverson up here too, but it does look like the enemy may be making a push for... Wow, they're definitely making a push, guys. We'll go ahead for that 1,500 victory point area. So let's go ahead, we'll bring those guys back. We'll bring Lane over here. Try to bring Daniel over here too. And I don't like this one bit. Sneaky bastards. I understand what they mean by cunning now. Let's also take O'Neill. One thing we're doing here is we are taking a lot of strength away from our defensive lines to respond to this, but we have to. I mean, this could be the end of the battle for us. This is serious. Let's go ahead. Battle's still delayed. I'm going to make sure that Moore is aiming towards the enemy because we know where the enemy really is. Let's go ahead and do that. I don't mind as much losing Oak Hill if that's the case. But let's make sure that our line can still hold here. Wow. Alright, looks like we're going to be forming two defensive lines, guys. Alright, let's see if Lane can at least get rid of these annoying skirmishers. That would definitely help. Looks like they're going to pull out of their own volition, so that's good. not as confident as I was when this battle started, to say the least. These guys are definitely have a few tricks up their sleeve, and I can definitely see why this is called cunning. This is certainly a cunning infantry. I wouldn't even have noticed had I not just clicked back to take a quick look. But they are definitely trying to break through our lines and get to that second line of defense. So we're going to send our weaker brigades and one of our strongest ones, Daniel, and as well as O'Neill, just to defend that area. In fact, I'm starting to think that may be a little bit of a mistake. Maybe we want to actually keep more men on this flank, on this area. But I think that Pettigrew and Ramser and Smith, as well as the Tigers, will manage to hold this area by themselves. Again, that's just a guess, but that's what I hope for anyway. We may actually even put O'Neill over here in this wood. It might not be a bad idea. Same with Daniel. Let's put them in this wood here. This way, if the enemy comes, we get some really, really great position. And we can really give them a lot of damage. We'll do the same with Iverson and Lane. We're going to move them into the woods to get that cover. And I'm sorry I didn't think of that before. That makes me feel a little safer. But I'm sure the enemy still has some more tricks up their sleeve and probably some more reinforcements on the way. A lot of them are sitting over here. We can't see them all because of the fog of war. But if they decide to launch them towards the end of the battle, I'm going to be a very unhappy camper. All right, let's go ahead. This is good for you, O'Neill. Ames on the way. What's going to happen to Ames? And let's take a look up here too. All right, Krasnowski's pulling back a bit, and as they can see, our artillery definitely spotted them, so that's awesome. Here we go. Daniel's actually moving up a little too far for me, but I think we have Ames is in a really nice crossfire here, and I think we should be able to kill them over here at Hurst Wheatfield and not worry about them anymore. At least that's the plan. Open up, boys, for the South. See all those tracers whizzing by, just a ton of mini balls everywhere. Come on, Ames. Give up by now. Or even getting hit by my artillery. Oh man, Krasnowski's right on us. So Krasnowski's probably going to take out Hurt, and Hurt is certainly going to be hurt. Oh, don't you love my terrible puns. But nonetheless, we're not going to do anything about that. We're going to focus here on Ames. Just get rid of this guy, get him off our back, and we'll keep Lane and Iverson over here in the woods, hold them here, so that they can hold this position. And in fact, we may even be able to bring back one of these guys, like Scales, but he's at 606 anyway, so I think he's all right. I think he could stay put. The Devlin skirmishers are charging right into our men. They're not actually charging, they're just running away, but they have nowhere to run. So let's see if our guys will treat them kindly. Wow, our guys must be really confused. They're just like, who the hell are these bluecoats running through our lines? Terrified. Well, it must be the enemy. So that's pretty cool. Devlin skirmishers got away without a hitch. Pretty funny too. And Ames also pulled back. I guess he realized firing at a wooded position from an open field against two major brigades is probably not the wisest choice. So he's finished that. He's no longer interested in doing that. Let's go ahead and make sure the shell shot is still hitting these skirmishers. And I think we can bring Perrin over to attack this area too. We'll also make sure that Lewis is firing. We'll actually have him fire some solid shot just because his range will be better over at the skirmishers too. Alright, so far we're still holding the field, guys, and look at that body count. A lot of dead men on both sides, 2 failed charges, a third one finally succeeded after weakening the enemy a tremendous amount, and there we go, our men are making Ames run again. Back to Washington with you, boys. Alright, so far everything's going fine here. Obviously our cannoneers were destroyed, but while that's occurred, Lane and Iverson had time to recuperate despite their massive casualties in this battle. And I think we've formed a beautiful line. I think we've managed to do just the standard attack. We moved the enemy back, and they're not even interested in continuing the fight here. They're not interested in really losing any more men. They're going to go ahead and wait for the later stages of day 1 or wait for day 2 to really bring the pain. And I hate to use that terminology, but that's what they're waiting for. And unless they start one massive attack, you can see they've got some full brigades back here. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Move forward, boys. Doles. All right, Davis and Brokenberg are getting hit with some nasty artillery fire as well as some skirmisher shot. And it looks like Ames has also spotted us. He's got the high ground now. So I'm going to go ahead and move them back into the wooded area because Ames on the high ground, especially after getting chewed up for a few seconds there, is not going to be happy. There we go, guys. Wow, interesting. It was actually a draw. We took a tremendous amount of objectives, but that's just how good that cunning enemy is, guys. We lost 7,653 men. The enemy lost almost 5,000 men and took Cemetery Hill. And a very, very interesting end to the battle, to be sure, or end to the this particular engagement. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and continue here and see what our battle is next. And it seems that we could either attack Cemetery Hill, if applicable now. We could launch an attack on the federal left, or launch an attack on the cemetery. And I think we want to attack Cemetery Hill. I think that is our best bet. We're going to go ahead. We're going to continue, guys. It's a crazy strategy, especially against the cunning enemy, but I want to try to crush the Union early on and finish the Battle of Gettysburg against this cunning infantry. As you can see, they greatly outnumber us, but we do expect reinforcements, which is pretty cool. Or actually, they outnumber us once they get reinforcements. So this should be interesting. Anyway, guys, I hope you will enjoy this next battle. I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure to post down below, and we will get to Sons of the South Part 3 as soon as we can. Take care.